Hi everybody, and welcome back to Plastic Models by a Regular Dude, and part 3, Plastic Models for Beginners, Tamiya, 1/35 scale, M3A1 Scout Car. So, in the last video, I did steps 6 through 10. Got the remainder of the chassis work done. Got the wheels completed but not installed on the chassis, just for the fact that I want to leave those off for painting just a little bit easier. So now we're on to step 11. Alright, for step 11 I need quite a few parts here. So I need C5, which is the floor of the vehicle. Now, as I said in my last video and the previous video, I'm not going to be doing all of the cutout and cleanup and all that stuff for every part. If something needs some additional commentary on something to watch for during cleanup, I'll do that. Otherwise, I'll just get all the parts, cut off, talk about what I'm cutting off, and then do the cleanup off camera. So anyway, back to this. We got this. We need D41, 42, and 47. Okay. D41, 41, 42, 47. Okay. And then we need D29, which is this part right here. So I will demonstrate cleaning up the first couple of pieces, just in case this is the first time you've seen this series of videos, so at least you know what I'm doing. If not, it's just a reminder, refresher. So I'm cutting off all the sprue attachment points, cutting them as flush as possible to the part for ease of cleanup. I brush all that stuff in the floor because I will vacuum my floor later, because I don't like stuff all over the floor. Alright, so we got that. That's cleaned up. Got this cleaned up. Alright, and then let's see, let's take one of these small parts and I'll show you how I take care of these in case you haven't seen any of my videos before. Basically cut that off. And then using my handy dandy knife, I very carefully, without breaking these really fine parts, clean them up. If there's any mold seam lines, which sometimes are almost impossible to see, well, it doesn't look like it. There's a funny thing, a little blast from my past. This is the shift lever. As you can see, it's quite long, got some crazy bends in them. Well, my parents had a Ford pickup in 1975. They bought new in 75, four-wheel drive, and it always amazed me how long the shift lever was. And it was something about like that, big old long monstrosity, just crazy looking. But you know, that's the way they were back then. So anyway, I'll keep cleaning these up here. And well, I'll go ahead and clean these last couple on here, and then from here on out I'll do it like I was saying. I'll do them off camera. Now the nice thing is, the way these things are molded, there really is no mold seam. So that's kind of groovy, as they say. Them young kids say stuff like groovy. Wait, no they don't. This is 2020. I don't know what they say. Oh, I'm out of touch. Alright, so that looks pretty good. That's the, obviously the parking brake there. Alright, so those are done. So now we can glue them into place. Now, this is cool because shows you where they go, but it gives you an overhead view of how it goes. So like this would be the orientation, so you know where to orient the parts and how they go. So like the shift lever, because it's got that crazy bend, it comes over this way around those other two. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do those other two first. So we have this one, which is probably for the transfer case to put it into four-wheel drive. I'm just assuming. I don't know for sure, but I'm going with you know, the way vehicles used to be back in the day when they didn't have all-wheel or four-wheel drive on the fly. Okay, so I'm going to make sure that it's pressed down and is lined up the way it's supposed to. This one here, the little lever, the release lever goes in the back, and it is at a slight angle. To clear this one, goes that way. So we'll put that there and put some cement in there like that. And using the very fine point of my tweezers, make sure that's smashed down where it's supposed to be, like that. And then, now here's something that's kind of cool. You could get it screwed up, I guess, but the hole is square and the pin is square. So it allows you to put it in place like that. And that looks just right on. So I'm going to glue this one from the bottom, and as you can see, it's really snug, so it's not going to fall out. All right, so there we go. There is that. So then I need to put this in. This fits here from underneath. Now this is one of those parts where you'd be hard pressed to mess it up because there are two pins, two locating holes. So it's only going to go one direction. And that is just like that. So let's see, where is the, okay. So we'll put some cement here to get along the sides. Here. And along that seam. And we'll flip it around like this. And put it along that seam there. Give it a little squeeze with the tweezers. And there you have it. So that is step 11 done. So we're ready to move on to step 12. All right, so next is called attaching the bulkhead. So we have D46, D61, and B2. B2 if you wonder what I'm doing when I swing my arms up like that, I keep my I keep the sprues, the runners, on peg hooks on my pegboard on the back in alphabetical order. That way they're easy to get to, they're not in a box, I don't have to shuffle for them, I don't have them cluttering my desk. They're all up there and handy. Let's see, D46, D61, D46, D46. You're probably looking at it going, what a knucklehead. Yep, there they are right there. That's the pedals, the brake and clutch pedal. Apparently the accelerator pedal is molded on somewhere, I'm guessing. Okay, and then D61, which is the steering column. So there's that, and then we need D21, which looks like a fire extinguisher, and that is right there. Alright, so that goes there. So I'll clean these up and then we can put it all together. So let's see, how does this go? So this is the bulkhead. Now this goes, fire extinguisher goes on that little, there's a slot right here, a big long thingamajig right there, boom, fits right on like that. So in order to prevent any marring of the plastic, unnecessary marring of the plastic, I'm going to cement it from this side over here, where it's less likely to be seen. And then the pedals, they're curved, and according to the illustration, the curve needs to face up. So I will, and it fits right in there, and well, and it's another one of those things you wouldn't be able to put it in upside down or backwards, because the flat deal, the pin, if you want to call it that, is offset, so you wouldn't be able to actually put it in incorrectly. So boom, there's that. And I'm going to cement that from the back side there because it's all the way through. So I'll do that. Then I'll use my tweezers to make sure it's seated in there really well. Like that. Then, steering column, small pin, hole, and then that part right there fits into that little notch. So glue that first, like that, and then glue that around that. Make sure it's kind of level. And there is that part. So that is that. So I'm gonna let this set up before we test fit it on the front of the floor. All right, all that's dried, so now we should be able to glue it in place. So there's two tabs, one there, that fit there and there. And then this piece right here fits underneath that right there. So fits like that. So it's going to be easier, probably better to glue it from the back. Let's see, like this. So I'm going to hold that in place. Glue that side first. Make sure it's placed, then glue that side there. And then glue that right there. Like that. So that looks pretty solid. All right, so that's in place. Now, it may be kind of tricky when it comes to painting, but I'll have to evaluate that a little bit more as I progress here. To get paint up underneath there, but then again, you're not really going to be able to see up underneath there once the vehicle is assembled. So probably not an issue. So anyway, step 12 is done. Now it's on to 13. So I'm going to set that right there. So I need C9, D33, D55. So C9, this part here, and then D33 and 55. 33 and 55. Okay, there's 55. $33. All right, so let's see. Let's glue this part on first. This goes, D55 goes here. Another one of those parts that you would not be able to glue in place upside down, because the top hole is rectangular, the bottom one is round. Trick is, oh my goodness, using my fat fingers to get that thing fit in there. Let's use tweezers, shall we? Oh, come on, there we go. Splendid. All right, so that goes there. So I'm gonna glue it from the back side like that. Push it in place. Make sure it's square. A little bit of cement there. And there. Wahoo. Okay, so that's done. So now this, this piece here fits here. And I think, yeah, it'll only fit one way. It's longer than it is. It's longer one direction. So there's that, and then this goes here. And the way it works is there's a step right there that fits up against this floor plate right there. So and then that butts up against there. So this I'm going to glue from the bottom. So I'm going to do this part first. This one here. Make sure those are bottomed out really well. Okay, and then I'll let that sit up for a second. And then I'll glue the other part, which is going to be there and there. In the meantime, I'm going to cut out two A5s, which look to be wheel wells. So we got two of those. Like that. It's nice and smooth there. Give it a little bit of a sand, just to make sure where the sprue was. It's not going to protrude because I don't know how much that's going to show once we do painting and weathering. Now, the interior of the vehicle, a lot of it's going to be blocked by the soldiers once they're done. But I want to take a chance of what can and can't be seen. So we're going to take a little bit of care here. Like that. So before I glue those, I'll check this. Get this glued here. There and there. So I'm going to push that into place there. All right, so these, it doesn't matter which side they fit, they're identical. So there's a couple of tabs there, a couple of slots there, not too difficult. So I'm going to cement it there because there's like a little ridge there that it fits up against. Same on this side. And then do the same on the other side. There. And there. Hold it in place. And with that, step 13 is done. So now we got step 14. Bring out the big guns. We got C4, C3. And the back plate, which is B3 with this thing here on it. So let's cut those out. C4, C3. Careful, don't get sides mixed up. They're pretty different. Okay, C4, C3, then we need B3, which is the back. And D30, which is this one right here, which looks like a piece of canvas type stuff. Alright, clean these up. Okay, so here is where we have to make some decisions. So one of the things people have complained about this kit is the fact that there's so many ejector pin marks on visible surfaces. So let's take a look at this back plate first. There's some along the top edge there. There are two here and here. There's one here. There's one here, 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 and then these down here. Now these are obviously going to be down below the level of the floor. Up here is where the track goes for the machine gun mount. There's a track that goes completely around the inside of the vehicle. Okay, so we got that. Then these three here are covered by this part, like that. So in reality, the only ones we really have to be concerned about are these four down here. Now, when this is in place here, the ones on the end are pretty much going to be, I mean, they're back in that corner. So the ones you can really see is this one and this one. So let's look a little ahead in the instructions and see if there's anything that's going to cover that up. I don't think there is, but there might be. So let's see. Actually, we've got some seats that are going to be down in there, right there. And I'm not sure how close those are going to be to the back. But actually, they're going to be pretty close because here's the pin for the seat, and they face out like this. So all these sink marks, or all these ejector pin marks, are virtually invisible on the back plate. So let's go ahead and glue this on here, and then we'll take a look at the sides and see what they look like. So we'll glue that in place there, like that. Okay, we'll set that aside. All right, so here are the ones that are on the inside of this. So we've got these here, which are pretty prominent, but they're going to be behind this piece here. So let's just put this on where it goes, and we'll take a look that way. Okay, so those there are going to be hidden by this and the lid that's on top of it. These back here, they might be visible. That one down in the corner, probably not so much. The other ones are right along here, which is going to be underneath the track. There is one right here, but that's going to be underneath the edge of the track, so you really wouldn't see that one. Same here, I believe. Then there are two here. So let's, and one there, and one there, and one there. So let's take a look and see. Now these in here, they're going to be inside where the engine would be, so you're not going to see them anyway. So let's see. Let's look ahead and see if there's anything that's going to be blocking those. And the thing is, I'm not like being lazy here, but I don't like to have to clean those unless I absolutely have to. So let's see. Let's see how the seats line up by the doors. Yeah, see, this track protrudes out from the side, so it, and then goes up against. So that's going to pretty much be covered, I think. Let's get one of the tracks and take a look. Yeah, because they fit pretty much right up against the sides, so we don't have to worry about those. The driver seats, or the driver and co-driver seats, those, let's see, would probably block those on the side. Yeah, because there's that pin right there is part of the, is where the seat mounts. Yeah, that's where the seat mounts. So the side of the seat is going to be right there. So that's going to cover those. So maybe that one, and maybe that one, and maybe that one. So I think those are the three I'm going to worry about. This one here, you're not going to see because the top's going to be over it. One way back in that corner, you're definitely not going to see. So then the only other, we'll get to those later. Those are going to be the flat part for the armored, flaps here that you can lower down so you can see outside. So let me take a look at how I'm going to clean these up. So now there's some detail there that we got to be careful with. So I'm going to carefully sand that right there. That's where these little skinny sticks come in handy. The only thing I don't like about them is the fact that the abrasive wears off kind of quickly, so I have to trim it back so I have fresh abrasive. Like that. It even deposits the abrasive on there sometimes. Okay, see, that one's gone, so that wasn't very difficult at all. So that's pretty easy. That one there, that's in between some really small detail. So I think I'll just trim it off like that. There we go. I think that's probably good enough that you won't be able to see it. And those other ones you're not going to see. So I think that is all I really need to worry about cleaning up. So I'll do the same thing on this side. Okay, that one's kind of protruding a bit more, so I'm going to carefully trim that off with this really sharp blade here. Like that. And then carefully sand it like that. So that's pretty good. And this one here, same thing. These are so shallow that, or they're really not even visible. All right, so that should probably be good. I think that's going to do it. So the next thing we need to do is glue these sides onto this. So here is how it fits. There's a slight protrusion here, and they fit there and there. Then this bulkhead here fits there and there. So because of the way these are designed, you really can't get it, out of whack. So we'll glue this first, then I'll glue the front and hold that together because it's flexed out a little bit. So let's glue this from the bottom. So let's do this one here first. Hold that in place really well. And then let's do this one back here, being very careful not to get any on the outside and get a fingerprint on it, because boy, that'd make me really sad. And a little bit there. So we'll hold that in place, make sure it sets up really good. Okay, so that's that. So I'm going to let that sit for just a minute. While I'm holding that, I'm going to put some cement on the inside like that. Like that. Splendid. So I'm going to let that, I'm going to put a little bit. Then I'm going to do this right here. There's a little tab right there. So we'll put that there. Yeah, and see, There's a slot and a notch right there too, so that's going to really help all that stick together really good. Okay, so now we'll just keep moving forward. We'll do this joint right there. Like that. While I'm holding that, I'm going to go ahead and do this part right here. And that will complete that side. So that all fit together quite nicely. Alright, since the other side is exactly the same, I'm going to do that off camera. No sense in seeing it twice. Alright, next we gotta glue this back plate on. So I want to be careful because I don't want it to totally seal up and look like a weld or something. So there's a little bit of a gap, but it squeezes together. So this may call for one of my super clamps. One of these babies here, just so I can put it on there and not have to worry about holding it for a long time. Oh yeah, that's perfect. Oh, splendid. Okay, so I'm going to put a little bit of cement back there, back there, and then in there, in there. Okay, we'll let that set up for a few minutes. Oh, these clamps are just wonderful. Okay, so we'll let that sit up for a few minutes, and in the meantime I need to get part B9, which is the front fenders, get those cleaned up and ready to go. I'd probably even attach them with that clamp on there. Like that. Alright, remove clamp, looks splendid. No problems. Now we can put the front fenders on, and that fits. And just these fit up into these grooves here. There's a little tab here and here to fit on the sides. So it's just a matter of getting it in place. Like that. Just like that. Simple. Stellar. Okay, so I think I will begin. I think I'll begin with the front. So what I need to do is put cement where that attaches there. Same thing on this side. So make sure those are nice and solid. And then we'll move down here. Make sure that's all pressed nice and tight. Place there. And do the same thing on this side. Oh man. Like that. Just make, oh, see, got some on my finger right there. Glad that's on the bottom. Boy, that stuff just went shooting right through that gap. Glad I didn't get that on the outside. I'd have been sore displeased. Okay, so there is the front fender. Fenders, I should say. Okay, that all looks good. So the next thing is I need two A4s, which are the tops of those bins there. So let's see, get the A sprues. One. Dose. All right, for these, I think I'm going to use this cement just because of the way it's kind of laid out here. I can't really get in behind it. So we'll do that. I'll use my tweezers like this. Whoops. How good that did. Okay, but there it is. And that will fit right there like that. And same thing for the other side. Like that. See if I can get it with my tweezers this time. There we go. Oh man, come on there, baby. Okay, so this one, oh, it's not over far enough. And yeah, I'm putting it on backwards. Dimwit. Let's try that again, shall we? Not the brightest bulb in the belfry sometimes. Perfecto. And with that, that finishes step 14. All right, ouch. All right, so now it's time to put the armor covers in place. So that's in the front and the ones on the doors. So those are oh, basically it's telling you to choose between, if you want them closed, step 15. If you want them open, then you do step 16. So let's see, what are we gonna do here? I think I'm gonna do like the box art, and I'm gonna have them closed. That'll kind of help with painting and stuff like that. But let's cut the parts off and take a look. So let's see. Yeah, I think because if I do, that's a toughie. I have it open. Okay, so here's the deal. If you have them open, you use this part here, which is a B4, and B8, because this part here, the armored glass goes in, and then this visor sticks out with the little some little props. They're like little sticks that stick up, that hold it up. So let's see here. You can also have the armored louvers in the front open or closed. Let me ponder this. So looking at it, I think I do want to do it with it closed, just because I want to do it like the box art. So I'll be doing it like this. So I need to do step 15. So I need part B7 and B6 first, which is B7 and B6. So I need those. And let's see. Yeah. Gotta make sure these are trimmed off really good. For some reason it specifies that you're supposed to cut those off. I don't know why. I can't see why you would think they're supposed to stay there. But, you know. Okay, so that's that. And then this one here, same thing. Gotta cut these off. And this side one here. There's some detail on the side here, so that's something you'll have to be careful with when cleaning up. If you sand it, don't sand that detail off. Okay, so that goes like that, and then this glues there. So it's got a little bit of movement, so it's important to make sure that it's lined up. So I'm going to hold that side and glue this side first. Squeeze it together with my tweezers. I'll get a nasty old fingerprint on here. Now I'll clean it in a minute. I don't know what's going on with that. Make sure that's all on there nice and tight. Let that dry for a few minutes, then I'll clean that nasty fingerprint off of there. Okay, with that ready to roll and cleaned up, put this in place there. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do one side at a time. That way, I don't think I really need to do one side at a time. I think I am though. I'm going to do this side first, and then I'll do that side. That way if I need to clamp it, I can clamp it. And as you can see, there's like all kinds of little guides here to help position it. The space between this little tab here and this one here fits around those there, so you can't get it too far forward or too far back. So that is just an epic win right there. And it's also an epic win that I can actually apply the cement from the inside, so I don't have to have my fingers up there anywhere to get, you know, to goop it up or anything, get any fingerprints on it. So let's see, so that fits there. So let us begin. Put it in a few different points so I get a good firm bond. And I really don't want it to seep up through these edges here, because, you know, that's supposed to be like a seam line or whatever you want to call it, so you can open the hatch here to get to the engine. Because on this right here, you see these little bumps here, those are pins or screws holding hinges on the inside. So, you know, when you unlatch it, it kind of folds up like that. So this would be standing up. So that needs to be a free seam. So I'm going to let that sit for a second and dry good before I tackle the other side. And while that is drying, I'm going to go ahead and cut off the two A34s and the A35 to glue into place there, which those are the propping posts to hold the armored cover open. Let's see, so we got A34 and 35, so we got two 34s, so I'm going to put that there, and a 35, which I'm going to put over there. So this will be the other 34 right there. Get these cleaned up. Those are cleaned up, so now I can glue this other side over here. Now this side I'm going to squeeze together, and I think I'll use a small clamp for that. See, how am I going to do it? Let's do it this way. There we go. Oh. Oh. Okay, it's not cooperating. Oh, here we go. Haha, there we go. All right, that'll hold it really good right there. That's comical. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put the cement on it, and then I'll clamp it. Save myself some personal anguish. That. so that looks pretty good. So I'm going to let that dry for a minute. While that's drying, I'm going to cut off D18 and 19, which is here and here. And then I need D31, which is the armored louver here. That will be in the closed position. And then I also need C8 and C7, or C7 and C8 if you like to do it in numerical order. So there's that. Get these cleaned up. Okay, so these door armored covers here have some ejector pin marks, so we're gonna have to deal with those. Now this one here kind of protrudes, so I can actually trim that with a knife first before I sand it. Then those there, I'll have to sand them. I'm gonna do it pretty much just like I did with the one on that back plate. So I'm gonna carefully, and again, you may not notice them, but on the driver's side, I think you would, because the driver doesn't sit high enough, I don't think, in the seat to cover those up. Yeah, see, that disappeared pretty quick. Yeah, see, that's not bad. Those are real easy to clean up. You know, and people often say, you know, well, you'd think they could find a better way. So, well, there's sometimes, you know, like all around that edge, when you can engineer it in a way that minimizes the exposure of the ejector pin marks. But then there's times when there's no getting around it. I think this is one of those times. I mean, the only other thing they could do is give you 2 sets of doors, you know, with, I don't know, but you got to do what you got to do. All right, those are cleaned up. So now we can start gluing some of this stuff on. So the first thing I want to do, so I don't forget them, is glue these small pieces. So 35, the single one, goes over here. And let's see. Make sure you get it orientated right. The pin is here, the long arm here, so the pin is back there, so the long arm needs to go this way. So I don't think you could really screw it up unless you just really weren't paying attention. But that goes there. And then the opposite thing on these, whoa. And that's why there's 2 of them, because they face the other direction. Like that. And that. Okay, so this is just going to take a very little bit of cement. Right there, like that. Make sure it's pressed in there and straight. Same there. And same there. All right, so those are all in place. So now the next thing is to do D18 and D19. Now D19 is shown being painted, but I don't think that's necessary because the louvers are going to be closed, so I don't think that's going to be an issue. Okay, so this okay, so it shows on the instructions, snap. Well, there are two little keyhole shaped indentations there and a little pin right there. So they should slide up inside of there. There's slots there and there. So you just need to make sure you get this groove in that top slot. So there and there, like that, and then just push it up, and well, didn't make a real loud audible snap, but it's in there. Okay, and then this whoops, I gotta do the frame first, and that goes okay. There is it's vertical right there, and then slope starting right there. So this fits that contour. The flat part goes there. This rests up against the hood or bonnet, depending on what part of the world you come from. Just like that. So this is another one of those things you don't want to fill in the grooves and seams around the edge, because it's supposed to be, you know, it's bolted on there, and this needs to be free of that, so you don't want to fill that in. So just a little bit of cement down there. Let's put some up here and there. And that should give plenty right there. Sweet. So then this, the louvered part, fits here. Yeah. So there's some pins here, and they fit in the hole there. If you're using the individual louvers, they would rest on top of that, because those have, each one of them has a separate little pin deal to go on it, it looks like. But for this, it just fits right in there like that. I'll use the bottom underneath here to glue it like that. And the pins are right in there, so I'll glue that and that. Okay, so there we go. There's that. All right, next, I gotta glue these babies on. So they only go one way, just like that. Fit in there rather nicely. So let's see where I want to glue them. So this one I'm going to have to be careful so I don't get any glue on the outside or on my fingers or anything. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue it right along that seam there. just a little bit on the back seam. Make sure it's pressed down so the hinges look like they're actually hinges and not two separate things. Just like that. Can't see any daylight through there. I mean, the hinges are touching, so we're good. So I'm going to do the same thing with the other door. Okay, so the doors are on, and that concludes step 15. So let's see what's next. 16 we don't do because that is with all the armored stuff open. Let's see, and then it's attaching the body. So let's take a look and see how that's going to work out. Let's see here. So we've got 1, 2, 3 pins on the chassis that fit into holes on the body, and then 2 pins there and there on the body that fit in the chassis. So let's put it on there and see how well it actually fits. There we go. Wow, that just dropped right in there like the proverbial glove. So I'll have to probably clamp that a bit. Let's see how that, yeah, that's all flush. That's all flush in the back and the front. I'll just have to, let's see if that's hanging up on something. Nope. Just need to put a clamp on it. So there's a spot right down in here where I can glue it in addition to the pin. So I'm going to be doing that. And let's see how we can clamp this without causing any damage to any parts. Right there. That'll work. That'll be the only clamp I need. It looks like the chassis is twisted a little bit down like that. Yep, so that's what I'm going to do. So let us I got to decide how. Okay, so this is what I'm going to do. For this here, I'm going to use this cement. Okay, I think I'll go ahead and use it here and here. And then here, 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 and here. And then I can go with my extra thin around after I get this in place. And whoa. Okay, so that's all there and there. Okay, and then I need to clamp this, so let me clamp this here. Like that. put a little bit of cement there. And there, and that should hold the front like that. That's all good there. So, okay, and then where these are here, I'll put a little bit of cement in there to kind of help hold that. Not that it's really necessary, but I'm going to do it anyway just because. A little bit there. And there. So, I think that should hold it. So let's set that down and let that cure up. Alrighty then, so that finished up to step 17. So I think this is a good place to stop. So in this one we did, yeah, this stuff. In this one we did, look at my notes here. Yeah, steps 11 through 17. The only thing I didn't do was put the wheels on, just because it'll be easier to paint those off, and it'll allow me to weather up inside of here. Well, of course it doesn't matter because these wheels will come off because of the what you call those things, the poly caps inside. So there we go. That's the end of step 17 and part 3. So next time we come back, we'll be working or starting up with step 18, and go on from there. See what all we can get done. This is where a lot of the smaller parts start coming in. So may not do as many steps, just depends. But that's that for now. So as always, thanks for joining me here on Plastic Models by a Regular Dude. If you have any hints, tips, comments, suggestions, anything else, put them in the comments section down below, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. So as always, thanks for watching, and I will see you all later.